What's going on, you guys? Mason Ramon here, and welcome back to Kaiju Figure Reviews. Now, of course, Kaiju Figure Reviews is one of my segments to this channel, but now it has turned into a weekly segment. Yes, every Monday I will be doing Kaiju Figure Reviews, and today's Monday, obviously, so we're going to get started with our first Kaiju Figure Review this week. So, I did promise I review her before I get to another monster made by NECA. So, here she is. The NECA Mothra 2019 figure by Godzilla King of the Monsters. Now, I will say this. I do like this figure in general, as a whole. But there are some issues that I have with her. And I'm going to go over them right now. I'll discuss the issues as I go along. So first, let's get into the detail. Now, as you can see, the detailing on Mothra is absolutely stunning. You can see here that they took the time and detailed her wings to actually make it look like a moth or butterfly's wing. Probably mostly a moth's wing. You can actually see that there is some sort of furry, fuzzy-like texture going on throughout her wings, and they just look really, really nicely done. Even on the ridges of her wing, right towards the base, it actually does look like there's fur texture at the base of her wings, just like a moth would. Now I'm gonna get close to her face, if I can get the camera to focus on her beautiful-looking face. Yes, in Godzilla King of the Monsters, she is dubbed Queen of the Monsters. Apparently, Godzilla and Mothra have a thing going on for each other. I think they've always had a thing going on for each other, but anyway. Now, Mothra's face, though. Now, her body as a whole, her body, excluding wings, is really tiny. It's about the size of my thumb, right here. Her body is about the size of my thumb. Her body is tiny. But they took the time and they detailed her from face to stinger. And they did a really nice job with detailing her with her whole body. And, you know, her eyes actually stand out really, really well. So then you'll be able to notice her head very, very well. And also her antennae here are molded into the back. It's not an issue to me because her body is that small. Because she's an insectoid after all. And most insects compared to other animals are quite small. Their wings are the biggest parts of their body. But other than that, enough with 5th grade elementary school. The detailing on Mothra is just really, really nicely done. I dig it. So, aside from detail, her paint job is actually pretty nice, but it can be kind of questionable. I did recall seeing a little bit more of a spastic design for her wings, but I might have to check back with the movie once it comes out. But other than that, it does look pretty cool. Now, the other questionable thing about that is all these white spots right here. Not that it's inaccurate to the film or inaccurate to the mold, but as you can see here towards the eyeball section, it looks like this white spot here has been dropped by like a kindergartner or something like that. Whereas on the other side of the wing, it's actually intentional and it looks good. So really, I have no idea what NECA was doing while they were painting this thing with all the white areas. It's just a little strange. Some do look good, others not so much. It looks like it's been done by a 2-year-old. But the yellow, the orange, and actually the eyeball parts on her wings actually do look pretty good. It does look like she has a pair of, eyeballs that a moth would use to scare off predators. The eyeballs do look cool. The yellow, the orange, and the black, it does look cool. It's just all these white spots that are not, that are kind of questionable. And also, if you look closely, her wings are actually sort of translucent. So you can see the back of my hand going by, behind her wing. So her body does look cool. Now her body, on the other hand, it's actually a bit of a tannish color, even the base of the wings here. But I did remember seeing a little more white on her face and the top of her legs. But other than that, this is just fine. Her feet, though, I don't even know if you call them feet. it actually looks like that one of the feet have been chipped off with the paint. And it has this bland, tannish wrap around it, which doesn't really look too promising. But her head, though, the head actually does look quite kind of nice with the paint job. And her very, very bright blue eyes gives a distinction that, you know, her face is right there. I can see her blue eyes from far away, as if it was a focal point to her head, or a focal point to her body. But yeah, so paint job is okay. It's pretty good, but the white areas on her wings, nah, yeah. So now we go on to articulation. This is where the downfall kind of begins from there. So I'm going to show you. We have, obviously, you get wing motion. Her big wings move up and down, and also the little wings move up and down. They're all on hinges. They're not all on ball joints. So all of them are hinges. So now this is where the problem begins. If you're trying to animate or pose her somewhere for a photo, if you lift off her wing, it's mostly her right wing that's not that good. It falls right back down. Even if you touch it just by the slightest, if you get it to hold up like this, and if you touch it just a little bit, it will fall. Well, I guess not with this case, but it will fall. Yeah, her wing is very loose. Her left wing, on the other hand, actually still is kind of loose, but it's not as loose as her right wing. So her big wings are kind of loose. But I do know a bit of a way around that. Use the smaller wings and use it for support for the big wings. And then if you do this, raise her wings all the way up like this with the small wings on the bottom, it actually will stay up because of the little wings supporting the big wings. But I see that this is unacceptable if you want to, you know, spread all of her wings out. Like have her small wings on the bottom and her big wings on the top. That's a bit unacceptable, and NECA could have done a better job to prevent this. Prevent loose wings from happening. And this is not just mine. This is actually with quite a few people's figures. And there is a way to get the wings to stiffen up just a little bit. Take a little bit of super glue and brush the hinge just a little bit, not too much, and then you'll get some stiffer wings. But seriously, I see this as a good way to get around it. But if you want to go do some advanced photography, then yeah, you're kind of out of luck. And now also another thing, her limbs actually move too. Her front limbs, they can move like this. But this is another problem too, and her back wings too. Her back limbs as well, they can rotate as well. Now this is the other problem that I have. Her limbs are super, super tiny. And here's the problem. You see this right here? You see that? You see that shiny stuff on her limb? I put super glue on that. You want to know why? Because this foot snapped. It snapped right off. And that's what happens if you keep messing with, well, I don't know about it's not even my fault that it snapped. It's the figure's fault. It's tiny. The joints are so tiny that they will snap easily. They could have made Mothra's body just a little bit bigger so they won't have this issue. But yeah, it does. And I'm sorry to say this, but if your figure snaps, good luck animating it. Because yeah, her articulation though is cool, but it's very flawed. It's very, very flawed. Oh hey, check it out. Extra plastic sticking off of her leg. Not cool, NECA. Okay, I'm done ranting about the articulation. There's only like 8 points of articulation on this thing, and it's pretty flawed because NECA's quality control is not that good. But I will definitely get the monster arts for comparison and probably for better animation stuff. But anyway, let's move on to her accessories. She actually was supposed to come with 3 accessories. She actually was supposed to have a Mothra larvae figure, but NECA decided not to put it with the figure. I don't know why. It's kind of stupid. And here's a picture of the Mothra larvae figure that it was supposed to come with. Yeah, it would have been cool if we got to have a bit of a larvae figure. in the collection, but we don't. I don't know why NECA decided to go with that. But she also has 2 extra accessories. She has a support stand for her to fly, and this base is actually a hatched cocoon for her to come out and, you know, fly out. And the detailing on this thing is actually pretty cool, and the paint job too. I do like these streaks of this metallic tealish green that they got going on there, because she did have a bit of a bluish green aura going around her in some parts of the movie, which was kind of cool. And I do like the bottom here where it looks a little webbed and it looks like it's coming out of this thing here, you know, and it does look kind of nice. So here's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to put the base right there, get the stand and stick it in like that, very, very smoothly. And now, what you do for Mothra is that you gotta bring her all the way up. I gotta bring the camera up here. So now for Mothra, I'm gonna leave her wings down. You stick her on just like this. It will hook her on, like so. Get the wings out just a little bit, so then it will stay out. This stand, though, is it's not that good. You can barely get her on here, get her to stand or stay up here on this base. So yeah, you can just barely get her up here on this thing. There we go. That'll work. That works. So yeah, struggling to get that thing on there. Yeah, her support stand is really not that good. They could have done a better job with her stand. And if you have this like right on the edge of the shelf, one shelf dive, this thing could probably break, because this figure is very, very brittle. So now we're gonna go ahead and move on to some size comparisons. Now here she is compared with some other Mothra figures that I have in the collection. Now as you can see, it's obviously not meant to be a prop like with the Toho films, because the bodies on Mothra are actually quite large and her wings are, you know, smaller and wider. And this is actually the most realistic take on Mothra, to be honest. Even though a lot of Mothra fans were freaking out about her design, but to be honest, I do like Mothra's design in the new film. I will say that right now. But other than that, all 3 of these Mothras together actually do look pretty neat. Now here she is compared to the NECA Godzilla 2019, SH Monster Arts Godzilla 2019, SH Monster Arts Fire Rodan, SH Monster Arts Batra, SH Monster Arts King Kong, SH Figure Arts Gamora, and finally the Revoltech Baragon. So overall size comparisons for Mothra are actually pretty nicely captured here. I showed her with Batra to give you guys an idea of, you know, what the two would look like together. And maybe in the future I might actually come up with a Monster Arts Batra design. I think Batra in the Monsterverse would actually be really cool if you think about it. But anyways, for rarity, Mothra, the NECA Mothra, is actually still pretty common here. She came out a couple months ago. I got her at my local comic shop with the NECA Godzilla 2019 figure for about, I think she was about $25, $26. So yeah, she's not that bad. So yeah, she's still pretty common. Now to wrap things up, this figure is actually pretty good, but the quality control is not so good. Now, for detail, her detail is absolutely stunning, and NECA took the time to detail every piece of her body, almost every piece of her body, on this figure. The paint job is actually pretty interesting to look at, but I don't know if it's 100% accurate, because I have to look back at the movie and look at her wings, and the white spots on her are not really that pleasing to look at. Her articulation is the worst part of it all. It is cool, but her wings are very loose, and one of my limbs on this figure snapped right off, so I had to glue it back on, so now I can't use it anymore. Her size comparisons are pretty interesting to look at. Accurate, but quite interesting to look at. And her rarity, it's actually pretty high. So, in the end, I'm going to give NECA Mothra a 7 out of 10. Actually, no, let's make it a 7.5 out of 10. A 7.5 because really the articulation is the biggest downfall of this figure. The paint job for the white is kind of questionable, but everything else about her is really, really nice. And I do like this figure. So yeah, 7.5 out of 10. And so yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you liked it. Leave a comment below telling me what you think about the figure. I might also get the SH Monster Arts Mothra for comparison and to see what's improved and what's better with this thing. Also, if you want to subscribe to my channel, feel free to hit that big red button. It will really, really help me grow my channel. And also, hit the notification bell to receive notifications for all of my future videos. And so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys later.